Okay, for our next video on working with order of operations, let's look at the P in PEMDAS, all right? And I've seen some math resources call it GEMDAS with a G, with that in place. The big thing to remember is that first letter just stands for parentheses, but it means any kind of grouping symbol. So it could be brackets, whatever they're using for grouping symbols. So don't let the semantics of it hang up on you. I think most of us work with PEMDAS still, and that's what we remember. So we'll continue to go with that. All right, so if we look at these problems, right, the big principal order of PEMDAS is just that you have to do anything inside a set of grouping symbols first, and you go inside the most innermost ones, and then you work your way outside. And we've got a couple examples, and we'll show how to do that. While you are inside each set of respective grouping symbols, then that's when you apply the other operations in order, and you'll figure it out. It's not that complicated. So on this one, the only grouping symbol we got to deal with is this one right here. So what we do is we go 5 times 4, and then we do the operations that are in there. And the only operation inside this is 10 minus 8, right? So then you have 2, and then you have plus 20. And then the rest of the problem is pretty straightforward, because you've got 2 multiplication problems in this part right here. So you just go left to right. So you go, because dot product's one way of showing a multiplication. Parenthesis is another way of showing a multiplication, right? So you go 5 times 4, so that's 20, and then 20 times 2 is 40. So you wind up with 40 plus 20, and that gives us 60. Okay, let's look at the next one. So let's go to the innermost parentheses, right? So we've got these right here. Let's change my color here for a second. We've got these right here, and then you've got one set that's inside those, and that's these. So let's do what's in the red first. So 3 minus 2, right? So we're doing the operation that's inside the parentheses. Don't worry about that exponent just yet. So 3 minus 2 is 1, right? And then that gives us 10 plus 1 squared, right? And then we have our yellow parentheses and everything else going on. And then, so let's deal with that 10 plus 1 squared. Well, 1 squared is just 1. You have 10 plus 1, so you get 11, right? So now the only thing that's inside that yellow parentheses is this 11. And so then you have the rest of everything else. You have 15 minus 11 plus 6, right? And so that's 15 minus 11 is 4, and then plus 6, and then that gets you to 10. All right, look at a couple more. Again, start from the inside and work your way out. So let's start with, we'll try this color. Start with this right here. So we're going to the innermost parentheses, which is what's going on here, and then inside there you got to still apply PEMDAS. Obviously not the P, because we're already doing that, but we got to do the MDAS part, exponents, multiplication, blah blah blah. So let's do 3 squared first. So you get 9 plus 9, and then that gives us 18. And so now you have this 3 times 18 all inside the brackets. Well, 3 times 18 is 54. Right, so you have 108 divided by 54. Once you figure that out, you can drop the brackets. And 108 divided by 54 is 2. So away you go. All right, next we've got this problem right here. This 2 times 8 squared minus 2 squared times 8 all over 2 times 8. So a lot of 2's and a lot of 8's and a lot of confusion if you let it trip you up. The nice thing is there are no grouping symbols, all right? But we do have a fraction problem going on here, okay? And that's division. But what you have to do is you have to treat it like this whole part here, and this is why it's with the grouping symbols thing. So this whole thing, this 2 times 8 squared minus 2 squared times 8, is almost like its own thing, and then we're dividing that by 2 times 8. So that's kind of a way of looking at it, which is why we're approaching it here. So let's deal with the top. All right, so let's go through and let's do our exponents first. So we're going to do 2 times 64, because that's what 8 squared is, minus, well, 2 squared is 4 times 8, and then that is over 2 times 8. Well, this is in a different set of parentheses, right? That's in this, so we could do that too. We could do 2 times 8, and that's 16. All right, now 2 times 64 is 128, and then minus 32 over 16. All right, and then you just do 128 minus 32, which gives you 96 divided by 16. And then you get a nice, neat number 6. All right, so I hope some of this is helping you with just seeing these things, right? And because I know in the past when we've done a lot of PEMDAS problems, a lot of order of operation problems, there haven't been a ton of exponents that you've been exposed to, and now you're going to see a lot more of those. So it's good to see that, and it's also good to see more nested parentheses. So go forth and have fun with these.